Rev up your engines! Now, with the price of gasoline getting sky high, unfortunately, there are a bunch of scams going out there now that promise you'll get better gas mileage in your car if you only buy their product. Unfortunately, most of them are total scams. So I'm going to warn you about them right now so you don't waste your money and even possibly damage your car. Every time the price of gas gets sky high, these clowns come out. Now, decades ago, people were trying to sell magnets to get better gas mileage. You'd put a special magnetic device on the gas lines. I tried this in Houston decades ago, and I proved it didn't work. To begin with, gasoline is not magnetic. You put a magnet, it doesn't affect the liquid inside it. Where did this come from? It actually came from a sort of real thing a long time ago. Farmers would have old tractors with rusty old gas tanks. Rust will clog up carburetors. So on the fuel line, they would put big magnets. Well, rust is iron. If you had big enough magnets on a fuel line, that would grab the pieces of iron rust before they clogged up the carburetor. And in that sense, if you had a really junky old vehicle, well, it kept your carburetor from being clogged up, so of course you get better gas mileage if it flows. Magnets do not do anything to the gasoline in your car. Putting any kind of fancy magnet on is just a waste of money. It's kind of like those little magnets that people put on bracelets to help. Maybe magnetism can help the human body, but from what I read, it would have to be such gigantic magnets. It would be like the magnets that they use in those giant scan tools at the hospital when they're doing those magnetic scans, and they have all that power, and they say, don't have anything metal on you or it'll rip it out of your skin. Those are very powerful magnets. Little magnets you either put on your skin or on your fuel line don't do anything except waste your money buying a magnet. So certainly don't waste your money on them. Now this is a spark plug. It's called Polestar with plasma core. No, it is a spark plug and it does work. I tried them out in the Matrix here and it ran fine, but it ran fine before. So I did a test of it before with the regular spark plugs that Toyota came with, the Nipodenso, and these things. I ran on a dynamometer, I checked gas mileage. It didn't make any difference at all. If your spark plugs are old and worn out, you put in any brand new spark plugs and they'll get better gas mileage. You don't have to buy these expensive ones with all these claims. For years, there have been hundreds of varieties of spark plug scams. Engineers, in this case Toyota engineers, designed the engine to run with a certain spark plug at a certain heat range, at a certain amount of electricity that it takes to fire the spark, to burn the gasoline. They know what they're doing. The stuff that they come with in the factory are going to be the stuff that makes them run the best. Realize all modern cars have electronic ignition, most of them coil on plug. The ignition coil's right on top of the spark plug. They got plenty of power going through them. Put it in some crazy different design spark plug is not going to make your car run any better. And some of them I've seen made them actually run worse because they didn't jive with the electrical specifications of the original engineered plugs, so they wouldn't run quite as well. Stick to what's in it. If they're worn out, by all means change it, but don't waste your money on crazy fancy crap like this. Now the next scam that I found is this Eco Boost OBD2 green. It says save the planet, make it green. Plug it into your data port in your car and you drive it around and it'll automatically figure out how you drive so you can get better gas mileage and set your car so it'll become a gas mileage green machine. Now first of all, realize that's going to be messing with the programming of your computer. I tried it out and I couldn't tell the difference one way or another. It didn't get better gas mileage. It could actually destroy your car. This is one of these Chinese made things. Who knows, you know, what software is actually behind this stuff. Matrix is too old, but many cars now have buttons that'll say eco, power. Those are built into the car by the engineers who designed them. If you want better gas mileage, you can leave it on the eco button. It will shift out of the lower gears faster, so it will get into the higher gears where the engine spins less, runs at a lower RPM. Some of them will change the fuel injection mapping, the ignition timing. You will have less acceleration, less power. But if you drive conservatively in eco mode, you will get better gas mileage. Now, it's not a phenomenal amount of gas mileage. Mainly, it's the point that you drive more conservatively, you'll get better gas mileage. But don't think some stupid thing like this, advertised in magazines and on the internet, is gonna make your car become a fuel miser. It doesn't work that way. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is adding cleaners to your gas tank to get better gas mileage. There are a zillion additives that people sell, say, get better gas mileage, get 10 miles a gallon better gas mileage, get blah, 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 it'll fix things. If your car is running perfectly fine, like this Matrix, you can put all the cleaners in the world in, and it's not going to get any better gas mileage. It's already running at peak efficiency. I realize with modern gasoline engines running more and more efficient as time goes on, the level of efficiency in these cars is getting as high as it can possibly get for a gasoline internal combustion engine. The little tiny bit that's left, let's say it's working for its design at 97%. There's only 3% left to get, which is almost impossible to get anyways. So you can forget that. Now, of course, talking about efficiency of the present design as it exists, they are making engines that are more efficient, like Atkinson cycle engines. They have less power, but they're more efficient because of the way their valves work. Each design that's out there today is pretty close to as efficient as it can possibly get. Maybe they'll come up with some radical thing that has a higher level of efficiency. Because when it comes to pure efficiency, we're talking about the efficiency of physics. A modern gasoline engine, generally, the top you're going to get is maybe 35% efficiency. A lot of the gasoline that's burned is wasted as heat, friction. Now that can be worked on by engineers. You can't do that yourself on your own car. Because whatever design your car has, if you have a modern car, it'll be running at 90-something% efficiency for that design. Even though the overall design may only be 35% efficient. But let's say you do have dirty injectors or your engine's dirty inside. My friend Bernie in Albuquerque makes this ATS fuel cleaner. You pour it in a gas tank and drive it around. And I've been testing it. Viewers have been testing it. I just had a viewer contact me and he said he's used it, and after 3 tankfuls of driving around, he is now getting 29 miles further on a tank of gas. Okay, but realize he's got a 20-gallon gas tank, right? So he went 29 more miles with 20 gallons of gas. 1 mile a gallon improvement. And that's no great shakes. I mean, it shows the stuff works, it makes it more efficient. But there's only so much efficiency you can add. If the engine was really running bad, maybe it could make it worse. Now, this guy said his car was running okay to begin with, so it did clean it out and got it back to its original level of efficiency. But that was still only like 1 mile a gallon. It's no miracle where you're going to be getting 5, 10, 15 miles a gallon, 50% better gas mileage. No, nothing's going to do that. Burn gasoline, a lot of waste heat, unless they go to some different kind of design. It's always going to be that way. They're always somewhat inefficient. And there's no magic thing you can pour in a gas tank that's going to get phenomenal gas mileage. I remember back in the day, some fools were putting mothballs in their gas tanks because naphtha, right, to make the gasoline more potent, to go faster. If they put too much in, they ended up locking up their engines and blowing their engines up. So, yeah, you don't want to put strange chemicals in your gas tank. Like I say, the ATS 505, it is a very good cleaner. It'll clean your fuel injectors. It'll go through the system. It is a very good carbon cleaner. It's not a miracle worker, and a lot of the stuff out there is plain garbage. It won't do anything. And let's say your car's running perfectly fine, you're getting the same exact gas mileage that you've always got, and you want to throw this stuff in because it's running perfectly fine, and you're getting the same gas mileage you got before. Now, another scam that some people are falling for, they call them HHO generators. HHO, H2O, right? Water, but it looks bad if it says H2O, so they call them HHO. And their theory is they break the bond between hydrogen and oxygen in water, and then you get the hydrogen and you burn the hydrogen in your car to get better gas mileage. Now, first of all, figuring out how much hydrogen to put in a fuel injected car, adding it on top of the gasoline, would take a physicist and an automotive engineer to figure out exactly how to set the computers up so that it would fire the injectors at the right time and inject just the right amount of hydrogen. You've got that mess that you'd have to deal with, but the main thing thing is. As my old physics professor back in Niagara Falls, Mr. Philby, always said, you can't get something for nothing. Now, yeah, he was a cheapskate, but he was talking about physics in this case. And in the case of HHO generators, you turn the water into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity, using electrolysis. Well, where does the electricity come from? Well, of course, it comes from the battery, which is charged by the alternator. Then they have to use transformers to step it up so they can do electrolysis and turn water into hydrogen and oxygen. So ultimately, your alternator is creating the electricity that the HHO generator then uses to make hydrogen and oxygen. Now, your engine has to run to make the alternator create electricity. And of course, all machines are somewhat inefficient. It's a generator, even though it's called an alternator, because it generates alternating electricity. For all intents and purposes, it generates electricity by spinning, right? In a magnetic field. That takes energy from the engine. That burns gasoline. And since it's an inefficient process, you lose it when you generate it, you lose it when you make electrolysis. It is an inefficient process. So, even if you could find some mad genius who could figure out, okay, here's how much hydrogen you're generating, and here's how much it should inject into each fuel injector to make the car run correctly, right? You got all that hassle. The main thing is, it's a net loss process. So it will not allow you to get better gas mileage. You'll actually get worse gas mileage because you're burning gasoline to create the electricity to use electrolysis to turn water into hydrogen, then you burn the hydrogen. You are using more energy creating that hydrogen than you ever get burning the hydrogen, even if you had a mad genius who could figure out exactly how much hydrogen to mix with the fuel in your car to run it down the road. It is a net loss process. So you are actually losing energy. Really, the HHO generators, I say, ho, 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 I laugh at that because they do not work. Now, I know some people will say, some of those big diesel trucks, they add hydrogen to the diesel fuel to get better gas mileage. And yes, they do. They also lower pollution. They have tanks of hydrogen in the truck that were commercially created in factories, which they have to buy and then set it up for the big old truck to do. They are not generating their own hydrogen while they drive down the road off of the alternator of the big diesel truck. They are using hydrogen as a boost. And yes, it works as a boost. But even then, you got to meter it perfectly. Too much, too little, it can destroy your engine. So stay away from HHO generators. And last but not least, don't be fooled by devices that you can put in your car like this Green Tech $129 fuel saving machine. They claim that by dropping these stainless steel containers with little pellets in your gas tank and putting another little one in your air filter, you'll get better gas mileage. I bought one and I tried it out, and it is a total crock. It breaks down these electron forces in the gasoline, making it easier to burn, and it gets more efficient. You just drop it in your gas tank and drop it in the air filter, and away you go. What a load of baloney. And the company itself, I guess, thinks people are idiots. You can print whatever you want on the internet, but they had a bit of proof, proves how it works, by a guy who ran a test. And this is supposed to be the company that tested out, showing how it worked better. But if you look closely, you see carbon monoxide, it says before test 3.29% and after test 4.9% carbon monoxide. So this is their supposed proof that it works to make your engine burn more efficiently, get better gas mileage, right? Well, I mean, you can print out whatever you want. I mean, a piece of paper doesn't mean anything. But if you know anything about efficiency of combustion, the reason you get carbon monoxide after combustion is because of incomplete combustion. So since before the test was 3-something% carbon monoxide, and after it was 4-something% carbon monoxide, it means that the engine was actually burning less efficiently because it put out more carbon monoxide. This is why you have to have your gas furnaces and gas stoves tested every once in a while. Because if they're burning the gas incorrectly and not being efficient enough, carbon monoxide will be created and you can be poisoned. It happened to my son in Norton. His stove went and he passed out. It'd go outside waiting the ambulance to come take her to the hospital. More carbon monoxide, less efficiency. Their own data said that after the test, it put out more carbon monoxide. I mean, these people are idiots. They're even giving information that proves themselves to be wrong on their own website. Well, they say people are getting dumber and dumber. I guess they are. Do not waste your money on stupid products like this. They can't even lie correctly. Their data shows that it doesn't work, and they gave that on their website as proof that it works. And I mean, what are you going to believe anyways? You can print anything out on a computer. You can print the moon is made out of green cheese. Look, it says the moon is made out of green cheese on this piece of paper. It must be the truth, right? Well, their own data proved that they were wrong. Yeah, we all hate wasting extra money on gasoline. Keep the correct air pressure in your tires. Don't carry extra weight. Clean air filters. Tune your car up. Use the right oil, the one that's the lightest weight allowed. If it says use 520, use 520. The lighter oil has less friction, you get better gas mileage. But don't fall for any of these scams. They're going to be coming out of the woodwork now that the price of gas in some places is over $5 a gallon. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.